Alienation is also found throughout the classic novel Catcher in the Rye, written by J.D. Salinger. In this book, the main character, Holden Caulfield, is expelled from his private school. He does not want to go home and have to face his parents, so he travels around New York City. In his solo adventure, readers as well as Holden are able to discover how isolated he truly is, which eventually leads him to a mental institution from where he is telling the story. In the opening of the novel, readers find Holden standing alone on a hill watching the football game. He says, "Anyway, it was the Saturday of the football game. I remember around 3 o'clock that afternoon, I was standing way the hell up on top of Thompson's Hill. You could see the whole field from there, and you could see the two teams bashing each other all over the place. You could hear them yelling. Instead of interacting with the people at the game, Holden is standing aloof watching them, the first sign of his isolation." Throughout the novel, it is clear why he is alienated. He differs from society because he is so rebellious and therefore is unable to keep relationships. He is alienated out of society because he believes everyone to be a phony. A phony to him is someone acting like someone they are not. The only non-phony in the novel is his sister Phoebe. When Holden was in his room in New York, he says, "While I was changing my shirt, I damn near gave my sister Phoebe a buzz, though. I certainly felt like talking to her on the phone, somebody with sense and all. But I couldn't take a chance on giving her a buzz because she was only a little kid, and she wouldn't have been up, let alone anywhere near the phone. I thought of maybe hanging up if my parents answered, but it wouldn't have worked either. They'd know it's me. My mother always knows it's me. She's psychic. But I certainly wouldn't have minded shooting the crap with old Phoebe for a while." Although he is alienated from society, Holden can connect with his sister because she is the only one who is true. She is innocent. Also, his hesitation keeps him isolated from others. Just around his arrival at the train station in New York, Holden says, "The first thing I did when I got off at Penn Station, I went into this phone booth. I felt like giving somebody a buzz. But as soon as I was inside, I couldn't think of anyone to call. My brother DB was in Hollywood. My sister Phoebe was out. Then I thought of giving Jane Galliner's mother a buzz. Then I thought of calling this girl, Sally Hayes. I thought of calling Carl Louise. So I ended up not calling anybody. I came out of the booth after about 20 minutes or so." It is obvious Holden does not want to talk to his parents. He thinks they do not care about him and send him to private school to get rid of him. He increased his alienation by avoiding contact with them the entire novel until the very end. While in New York, Holden tried to connect himself with society. At a bar in New York, he said to a girl, "Well, take me to Edmont then," I said. "Join me for a cocktail. On me. I'm loaded." Holden is becoming desperate for someone to talk to because he is so alienated. Throughout the novel, Holden often questions himself and others about where the ducks go in the winter. Not knowing where they go can be related to Holden himself. He runs away from his problems and has no future ahead of him. Overall, Holden Caulfield alienated himself out of society, although he wanted and tried to be a part of it. In December of 2005, riot groups in France thrived on alienation. The riots were not religiously based, said BBC News. However, the riots that took place in the French suburbs were to, quote, "a rise of Muslim militancy in French ghettos," end quote. This was an awakening for France that alienation would eventually cause problems in their society. Quote, "They have no jobs, no futures," said Farid Khalifi, BBC News. This is like Holden. He did not have a future, which led him down the wrong road. Khalifi also said, quote, "They do not know who they are. They are told they are French, but they are not given the same rights as the French. Necessarily, some become radicals." End quote. The Muslims did not fit in the French society, similar to Holden, and therefore they stood out. Quote, "They have been uprooted," Khalifi says. "They are alienated from traditional Islam and their parents. The same is happening in France." End quote. Each group has different backgrounds, and the riot groups were outcasted by the French. Although they live in a French community, the riot members do not see themselves as a part of that community, but separate, independent people. Although Holden was not violent, as these riot members are, there are connections in the alienation between them that have made them who they are. In conclusion, alienation is found in both literature and our world today. There are various reasons for this isolation as seen between Thoreau and Holden Caulfield.